Hey friend, GM Jim here from Wizards and Wordslingers, and in this video I want to hip you to what I think is the perfect starting adventure or general low-level adventure. Of course, perfection is subjective and your mileage may vary. And if you want to throw some cash at the creators, check out the link below. Anyway, I'm talking about an adventure that probably slipped by your notice several years ago called Defiance and Flan. Flan? I don't know. And specifically the first segment of this adventure called The Meeting at Deep Night. Defiance and Flan was written for Adventures League by Sean Merwin, a name you might recognize from the Mastering Dungeons podcast. Great podcast. It's a series of 5 loosely connected mini-adventures, or basically extended encounters, and some are better than others. But The Meeting at Deep Night is perfection, and I'm going to tell you why. And if you're a player, I'm going to spoil the crap out of this, so you probably want to click away now. So here's why it's great. It's got everything. It has combat, exploration, espionage, and baked-in social encounters, all wrapped up in a neat package that you can run in 90 minutes or extend it to a 4-hour session depending on how you want to do it. It has no puzzles per se, but that's fine because not everybody even likes puzzles. It's very scalable for tier 1 characters, that is levels 1 to 4. I probably wouldn't run it for levels 5 and above, because I think some of the challenges could be too easily overcome by high-powered characters. And one final caveat about this video, I'm not going to simply recap the adventure as written. I'm going to talk about how I run it, how I've modified it, and give tips for how you can expand it from a single session to even a longer campaign if you want. It's a great jumping off point with room to grow, so let's get into it. First, I'm going to summarize the mission as written with a general overview. The PCs arrive at a tavern. It's set in the Forgotten Realms town of Flan, but this could work absolutely anywhere in a small town or roadside stop. The location is not important to the story. Next, someone who works at the tavern tells the party there's a mysterious hooded stranger who wants to speak with them. This stranger is a harper who offers them a job because one of the PCs fits a certain description. The harper tells them they have captured a dirty dealing merchant who was about to purchase a stolen dragon egg at a nearby location. A barn, specifically. The party is to go there with fake diamonds and complete the transaction, while at some point dropping a tracking device onto the sellers. Then they are supposed to come back and get paid by the harper. Simple and straightforward. So let's talk about how I run this to flesh it out and scale it so you could run it in 1 hour or 4, depending on how much time you have. First, you're going to need a few NPCs. A generic tavern keeper, maybe also a server. You're going to need a noir-y kind of hard-boiled city cop, and also a regal sort of organized crime dragon egg smuggler. Give them each a bit of personality. Then set them aside and we'll come back to them later. Now let me explain how I run this plot. The characters meet at a tavern in the evening. Yeah, I know, it's a horrible cliche that's been done to death, but who cares? It's simple and effective and gets us into the story really quickly. You can ask the players if they want to already know each other or if they want to be meeting for the first time. If time is no issue, then the latter option gives them more space. I'd like to have the players introduce their PCs, enter the tavern, then they'll probably go up to the tavern keeper or bartender. The tavern keeper asks, looking for work? Then when they say yes, point them to a table that has a sign on it that says something like hiring table. I love that kind of meta silly stuff in games. Either way, and however you want it to happen, the players all end up at the same table. Have them order dinner if you want. Now the adventure says to have the server or the tavern keeper approach them with an offer to speak to this mysterious hooded stranger, but I don't like that. It doesn't feel urgent enough for me. In the adventure, it's a harper from the Forgotten Realms faction, but I run it to be just like some kind of stereotypical city cop. And I have that cop bust into the bar, frantic. He's nervous, sweaty, looking around. Then he looks at the table, and something on his face changes. It's almost as if he can't believe his luck. The cop approaches the party and introduces himself. He says he's in a real pickle of a jam and he needs help immediately. He says, I wouldn't normally divulge this kind of classified information, but I'm running out of time and you're my last hope. See, my partner and I have been planning an operation for months. It's going down tonight. We've been working to infiltrate and expose an illegal dragon egg smuggling organization, and we're right on the doorstep of a major breakthrough. We've set up a meet with a baddie selling a dragon egg, and my partner was supposed to do the meet. We've given them my partner's physical description, so that's who they're expecting. But the crazy thing is, my partner ate something terrible for lunch and is physically unable to come out of the bathroom. We'll have to scrap this whole thing unless we can find someone else who can go. I can't go in his place because they've already seen my face and heard my voice. But the crazier part is, my partner looks exactly like, and now I have all the characters around the table roll a charisma check, and whoever rolls the highest, that's who the cop points to. My partner looks exactly like you. You're the spitting image of my partner, so you have to go in his place as the buyer. And all the rest of you can go along too. The buyer would have a money handler, bodyguards, whatever. It's up to you to decide who does what role. The only thing is, we're running out of time. We only have X minutes until the meet. Now, you have some flexibility with the X here. If you're running a full 4-hour session, that X could be 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever you think is enough time for the party to do some planning before they go. A longer time until the deadline will give the party some time to gear up, maybe ask the cop more questions, maybe even ask the tavern keeper questions about the area, whatever they feel like they want to do. They could do a little shopping in town. But if you're running a shorter session, make the X something like 30 minutes and the meeting spot is a 10-minute hike from here. Either way, have the cop be frantic, persuasive, pushing them to say yes. Next, the cop will detail the meet. It's at a barn Y minutes north of here, and they should approach on foot so they attract less attention. If you feel like that location isn't interesting enough or you just have a cool map you want to use, feel free to swap it out. It doesn't have to be a barn, it could be a castle or a graveyard mausoleum or whatever you want. The location isn't really important. Also, the cop will hand over the bag of diamonds for purchasing the dragon egg. If your party is tempted to take the diamonds and run, it's obvious to one of the more intelligent members of your party that these diamonds are fake. Cops can't afford a real bag of diamonds. Or the cop could straight up tell them that they're fake, but there's been illusion magic cast on them that will last for a few more hours. To help prevent theft, the cop should definitely offer a gold piece reward if they complete the mission successfully and make it back. Also, they'll get a silver pin or some sort of tracking device. If there's a rogue or stealthy looking person in the party, the cop will hand that tracker directly to that person. The cop gives strict instructions that they are to plant the tracker on the seller or one of the seller's bodyguards. Why not just in the bag of diamonds? Because there's a good chance they'll change bags and leave that behind, or they might count the diamonds before they leave, leading them to find the tracker. No, it has to be on someone. This also means the cop gives strict instructions not to engage in combat. Because the goal isn't to kill the seller, it's to be able to track them back to their hideout so they can infiltrate it at a later time. We're after the whole stash of dragon eggs here, not just this one. And this is probably my favorite aspect of this entire adventure because it's going to set up a tense non-combat scenario where quick thinking and good roleplay are the keys here. Of course, if the situation goes bad, we'll deal with that later. But it's important for the cop to stress to them, don't kill the seller. Do the deal, plant the tracker, then get out of there. So now they have what they need. The PCs can discuss who's going to do what role, maybe they do some prep or some shopping, and then they take off. Now you have the most flexibility in terms of pacing. If you got plenty of time, maybe you have a wilderness encounter on the way to the meet. Like they spot owlbear tracks or there's random road bandit goblins who just happen to be in the area. I always prepare an encounter that could happen on the way to the meet just in case there's time and it feels like the right thing to do. Then have the party arrive at the barn first, no cellar yet. This way they can scope out the area, position certain PCs in certain spots, even set traps or do whatever they like to feel comfortable before the thing actually goes down. The barn itself is huge. It's got hay bales they can use as cover, it's even got a loft up above with a ladder. Now if they search the loft beforehand, there's probably nothing up there. Or you could put like a swarm of giant wasps if you haven't had a combat yet and you want to toss one at them. One thing I've done is had the seller hide backup up there who arrived extra early in case the seller thought the meeting was going bad, but what I don't want to do is have the party discover them before the meet happens. I don't want the party finding evidence of foul play and spoiling the meet. So the seller arrives and I usually make her a regal elf with bugbear or orc or some other kind of bodyguard that feels level appropriate, just in case that fight does break out. Then the negotiation starts. We show you the egg, you give us the diamonds. And then just when things are looking solid, have the seller say, wait, weren't we told that the buyer would have a scar on their cheek? And now you gotta require them to do some quick talking, maybe a persuasion roll. The tracker holder person finds a way to plant it on either the seller or one of their bodyguards, then everything is done. The meet is over. Ideally, it should end with no combat, but you know how players are. If it doesn't end in combat, I like to throw an encounter at them on the way back so there's at least one good solid fight for the session. It can be road bandits who just happen to be passing by, or maybe they even know about the dragon egg somehow and want it for themselves. It could even be some kind of draconic species who smelled the dragon egg. Then the party gets back and debriefs the cop after the mission. If it ended well and you want to continue this on as a longer campaign, the cop says, "Here's your reward, meet me back here tomorrow in the morning for another job you might be interested in." And so it could be to infiltrate the seller's hideout next to begin unraveling the whole dragon egg trafficking organization. If the mission ended badly with no actual dragon egg, the cop could still offer them a chance to do it again later, or maybe some other type of work. So there you have it. The mission at Deep Night from Defiance and Flan is flexible, scalable, and it has a little bit of everything, which a starting adventure should. This is GM Jim, and since I have you, how about a like and subscribe below if you can spare the click. And if you do run this mission, comment below and let me know how it went. Or if you think you know a better way you could run this or ways to improve it, comment below and let me know that too. Anyway, take care, go out there and have fun running games.